Good morning, everyone. Well, I picked a slightly different spot. All has the lake behind me and more trees, just to kind of keep the background variable. It's quiet. The sun's up probably 10 or 15 degrees. I'm surrounded in trees where I'm at, so there's no way it's going to get over them until it's noon. I have a new camper next to me, so I'm kind of getting away from my campsite to record. I don't know how long they're here for. In any case, let's get into this. So, we're told that in the end times, there will be a falling away, an apostasy. Sometimes we use the original words, and then sometimes we try to put it into modern English. The original words sometimes have a problem of they make it sound more important than it is, or it doesn't give enough emphasis to what it is. We just talked about the rapture, so the rapture as a word doesn't tell you how important it is. It's being snatched away at the last second. The word rapture doesn't carry that connotation. Even harpazo doesn't. But if you say snatched away, we know what that means. And apostasy is kind of that. We have to make sure we understand what apostasy is, so we're going to look at the definition. There are two definitions out of I guess it's Webster's dictionary. The act of refusing to continue to follow. Deliberate, refusing to continue to follow, obey, or recognize a religious faith. Or to put it in layman terms, the abandonment of a previous loyalty. This is a willful choice. So we've got to make sure that we distinguish between another variation, which I'll get into in a second. Hebrews 3:12. Beware, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living God. It takes an evil heart to fall into apostasy. You hate something of that religion. You hate something. It's not God, believe me. If it's something you hate in your religion, it's man's doing. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I just told somebody, you got to be careful. So there are ways to drift away from God. We've all been through it. Now it's easier in the beginning when we don't have a good foundation. As new Christians, we go out there and we try to do everything we can because we're all full of excitement and zealous. We're at the Pentecost. We appear to be drunk. We're so excited. But then we get disappointed when we realize, oh, I can't do this on my own. I don't have a relationship with God like I thought I did. Maybe this isn't for me. It's called backsliding. Now, this is not the same as apostasy. Like I said, apostasy is a willful turning away. So, if we get to where we're not doing our daily devotions, we're not reading the Bible regularly, we're going to start replacing God with the world, and pretty soon, God's got a minor role. If we're a Christian, we're never going to get completely away from God, because we have the Spirit in us, and He promised us eternal life, so you cannot get away from it. Just ask Jonah. But you can marginalize, minimize how much God works with you. So, if we're distracted by the world, and Satan's good at that, then you need to refocus. You need to rededicate and focus back on God and get yourself reestablished. Start building that foundation again. Oh, don't sneeze. So, apostasy is far worse, so we want to make sure. There's a part of this table that's wet, and I'm trying not to get the tree was dripping on it. Get my elbow in it. So it may have, the apostasy might have to do with a number of things. We saw big apostasy during the Big C. I don't know if I can still get away with it. Because people were forced to not get together. They were forced legally by the law, except for those that were smart and realized they didn't have to follow the law in that case. The Calvary Chapels churches out in California would be a good example. They refused to close their doors. But other churches and other organizations have given in. One of the ones that I am saddened by is to see that the Boy Scouts gave in, because the left and the devil, and it's the devil's organization that's doing it, said, we're going to sue you until you have no more money left. And they started on that campaign. One lawsuit after another. They can get anybody to say anything, and they were just doing this. And it was taking a toll. They couldn't keep up. So they give in on one thing, and then boom, they just kept suing again until they got complete complicity. The Boy Scouts is as woke as you can get at this point. So I don't recommend the Boy Scouts anymore. And the Girl Scouts who forced the issue to join the Boy Scouts, I don't recommend the Girl Scouts anymore. Unless you can stand on your own and defy these people and do what you need to do, I don't support the organization anymore. A lot of businesses did the same thing, where they came in. I hear a lawnmower running, so I'm assuming he's going to come out somewhere. I see grass that hasn't been cut yet. They didn't finish the big yard in front of me. So it might get noisy. I may have to cut this short. We'll see how it goes. But for whatever reason, they just keep grabbing and keep grabbing. In their books, they call the term nudge. They just keep nudging you in the direction they want you to go. They know you're not going to pack up and move all at once, but they do it a little bit at a time. It's the frog in the boiling water type thing, only in reverse. They're causing it. So, in order to be able to stop this, you have to have good control of the Spirit of God. If you don't, then they're going to move you off center. Your foundation is the Spirit of God. Yep, I'm looking at the guy on the mower, so you might hear him in the background a little bit if he gets real close. 1 Thessalonians, do not quench the Spirit. You're also going to find where it says not to grieve the Spirit. That's more of a severe sin, if you will. Quenching a sin, you're blocking the Spirit from helping you. And this is how you marginalize your Christianity, is you go back into full sin mode, and the Spirit can work but not very effectively, and you're not going to hear it. It's not going to speak to you in a still small voice if your noise has gotten so bad you can't hear it. He's picking up stuff off the grass so that he doesn't have to cut it up with the mower. So we have a little bit of a reprieve. We had churches that closed because of it. I would say that is apostasy in its fullest. A lot of the churches closed because they couldn't afford to keep the doors open. But you don't close. Maybe you don't have power to turn the lights on because you don't have the money. Maybe you don't have fuel for your heater in the wintertime. You find a way. They didn't have all this fancy stuff back in the old days, in Jesus' time, and yet they still met. So you've got to find a way. God will show you how to do things. And if you're staying well grounded, well, you got two possibilities. Either Satan sees you as such a good grounded church and he puts it as a task to take you down. But God will protect. We have scriptures that say God will allow us to, He will prepare a meal for us at the table of our enemies. So they can't get to you if you're well grounded with God. And I don't mean the pastor, I don't mean the people that work there, the people of the church. The church is not the building, it's the people. If you are well grounded, they're not going to be able to get to you. Have prayer meetings when things start getting tough. Instead of doing a presentation, a show on Sunday, hold an hour-long prayer meeting where you get enough people up there to pray that it stops. Satan cannot stand up against God in any way, shape, or form. Power-wise, he's got no power against God. God could squash him with his little finger. He's allowing him for a reason. The reason, perhaps, is to give us a choice. But it's the apostasy that we're worried about. But it's not going to completely destroy the Christian church. That's why we have a rapture. But I look at the numbers, and we're supposed to be about 2 billion Christians in the world. There's like an 8 billion population, a little over. 2 billion Christians out of 8, that's not a very good number of people. And it should be the other way around. But at least there's that many. Now, out of that, how many are true Christians? Only God knows. I suspect a lot less. Maybe a little over 1 billion. The cult religions are out there, and those people claim to be Christians too, although they're not. Our mower's up there again, moving around. It's the little worker bees running around doing things in the background. You don't realize how much work goes on to maintain a park. Just come out and enjoy it. You don't have to worry about that. But I always get involved with those that are in the lead, and I find out things. When you're going to have issues with your church, which is what I'm leading into. For a long time, my wife worked in the office at the church that we went to at the time. It's a Baptist church. We're in Georgia. As the saying goes, you can't spit without hitting a Baptist church. They're on every corner. But when you work in the office, you get to see and hear everything that goes on to make things happen. And like they tell you, you don't want to know how they make sausage. If you did, you'd never eat sausage again. Well, churches are run by people and they're dealing with human issues. So you don't want to see how the sausage is made unless you've got a good foundation. He's waving at me, but it's okay. He can keep, as long as he keeps mowing, he won't be very close to us. Yeah, it's probably 50, 60 yards away. The bottom line is, don't be a part of this apostasy. Don't be fooled. Don't accept we have to be accepted by the community or by the people around us. Jesus never tried to be accepted. He represented God. He represented the truth. He didn't modify the truth because it offended somebody. He was hung on a cross because his truth offended the religious leaders of the day. That's the role that we're going to have. Right now, we're getting away with a lot of stuff that we're not going to get away with here soon. When the church is gone, if if you accept Christ and you act it out properly, you will have to be a martyr, because they will kill you. The harlot doesn't want, come on bugs, gnats. It's the hazards of being outside. They're just a distraction. They don't hurt anything. I've got to spray my tent. I've got some ants that have gotten in and they haven't left. And I keep seeing them, but I don't know where they're going. I've got too much stuff in my tent, and it's hard to move everything. You know, you've got, in your home, you've got ants, and you've got other bugs, and you've got spiders and all kinds of stuff. And you may have it fumigated, and it may knock it down for a little while, but they get in and they find a place to hide. We live in a world with all kinds of great creatures that God created, and they each have a role. You got to think about it. You know, you say a snake and you assume, oh, I got to go kill that snake. That's a bad snake. There are snakes out there that eat the bad snakes, so you don't want to kill them. Here comes the truck pulling the other mower. This place is so big they got to have two of them. So it's going to get noisy here in a second. How am I doing on time? I'm almost done, I guess. He's stopping right in front of me.
How you doing, Mom?
I'm doing good. Enjoying this early morning calm.
Man, I know it's 7 this morning.
Yep. And we're right here in front of me, so I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up a little short. Just keep fighting, people. We're not done yet. We're still here till we meet in the clouds.